In this video we're going to look at distribution strategies. Distribution strategies allows producers to consider the different types of intermediaries available and which one is appropriate for effective distribution. So in effect what we're talking about here is a producer and the final market and an intermediary between them. This could be a warehouse, for example. And it's the selection of the intermediary that's important. Selection based on experience of the market, expertise, past history, and so on. But the manufacturer must also decide on what sort of position it wants to have in the market. Does it want to be at the top end or the low end? Does it want to have mass marketing or very selective marketing? And how will these requirements fit with the intermediaries? So really it's for the company to select a strategy and a distribution strategy, and then get the intermediaries to deploy that strategy because it fits with their own expertise and their own way of doing things. And there are three possible strategies that a producer can consider. These are simply intensive distribution, exclusive distribution, and selective distribution. Now we're going to talk about these, and this will form the rest of this particular video. We're going to talk about them in a bit more detail, but for the moment it's important for the business to have decided on what sort of overall strategy it wants to pursue for its product and how it wants to be presented in the marketplace. And on that basis it could select the intermediary, and the intermediary will also facilitate the requirements of the producer. Let's start by talking about the intensive distribution. Well, this aims to cover a large area of the market by focusing on small available outlets. So it covers a large area of the market by looking at or using small available outlets. This is commonly used in low price purchases. So a large market is targeted and lots of small outlets are used. The more convenient these goods are made available, the greater effect on the total sales. So these are really cheap goods that are made widely available and sold widely, and therefore will have a bigger impact on total sales. So we're talking here about products such as bread, chocolate, cigarettes, beer, chewing gum, newspapers. We're talking about goods that are cheap, that are sold widely, and they use many available and small outlets, many small shops, for example. Now that would be intensive distribution. Exclusive distribution. In this strategy, distribution is limited to a small number of intermediaries. Products are priced highly, and more attention is taken into account. More attention is taken into account regarding the brand image, I should say. Customers are willing to travel a distance to obtain the product. It's more exclusive. This particular product is restricted. It's more exclusive. And there's a small number of intermediaries involved. The manufacturers have much more control over how their product is marketed. Because it is exclusive, they have more say in how the product is marketed. Usually there are branded items, perhaps strongly branded items, perfumes, the fashion industry, motor vehicles and so on. So that's an exclusive distribution. A much smaller number of outlets and a much tighter control on marketing and on the marketing policy pursued by the intermediaries on the part of the producer. The producer has much more say about how the product will be seen in the marketplace. Finally, we have selective distribution. This is really a combination of intensive and exclusive distribution. The manufacturer hopes for reasonable market coverage. I know that sounds very vague, but they're hoping for good market coverage, but at the same time a higher price and some element of branding in there. It's very selective on the type of intermediaries consulted, so it doesn't put the product with all intermediaries, it just puts the product with some intermediaries, ones who have an established history in marketing that type of product, and one who has similar views regarding marketing to the business itself. So it could include computers, audio, household products, and that sort of product. So it's intensive because it's much more widespread than the exclusive, but it also has some element of branding. So if you go to buy a computer, you look for a particular brand. You would look for a Dell or a Sony or Toshiba or whatever it is. So you're looking for a particular type of computer. There's a brand associated. At the same time, the computer is widely available, so it's selective distribution. And what it means is that the producer deals with certain intermediaries, certain agents or warehouses or outlets that intermediate between the producer and the final market and the final outlets. So those are the three types we wanted to consider. Intensive, cheaper products, very wide-ranging market, large number of outlets. For example, newspapers or bread. Then we had the more exclusive, which is based on brand image, restricted number of outlets, restricted number of intermediaries dealing with this product, and customers are willing to travel to get it, so that's exclusive. And finally, selective, which is more wide-ranging, but at the same time brand images are important and branding is important, so that the product is more widely available, but it's still recognized as a particular brand image. And the example we talked about are computers. So we have the three parts there, and that's all I want to do in this session, is talk about those three types of distribution. So thank you for watching.